Hey everyone, and welcome. In this explainer from A1 Institute, we are diving deep into a super important chapter for your Class 10 exams, the print revolution. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's get you exam ready. We're going to nail down all the key dates, the big names, and the core concepts you absolutely need to know. This is a focused session designed to make every single one of these facts stick. Your prep starts now. So here's our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with how a new hunger for books started in Europe. Then, we'll look at the awesome technology that fed that hunger. After that, we're shifting focus to see what India's own manuscript tradition was like. And finally, we'll track how the print revolution landed right here. It's a perfect roadmap for your revision. First up, the spark. You see, before the machines could get faster, something really basic had to change. A whole lot more people had to want to read. And in the 19th century, that's exactly what happened. Literacy rates shot up, creating this massive, brand new audience for books. So, who were these new readers? Well, first off, kids. With primary school becoming mandatory, suddenly there was a huge market for textbooks and children's stories. Then you have women, who became a massive audience for print, especially novels and magazines. And finally, workers, who were eager for self-improvement and started flocking to lending libraries to get their hands on books and ideas. And here's a detail that's perfect for your exams. You know the Grimm brothers? Well, they didn't just make up fairy tales. They actually traveled around Germany collecting old folk stories from people. And when they published their first collection back in 1812, it was a direct response to this new demand for stories that kids would love. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly shows the burning desire people had for knowledge. Think about that. Thomas Wood, a mechanic, wanted to read so badly that he'd rent old newspapers and read them by the light of a fire because he couldn't even afford a candle. That's just how powerful this drive to learn was. Okay, so you've got this huge new audience, right? Everyone is desperate to read. So how do you print enough stuff for all of them? Well, let's move to our next section and find out how the technology finally caught up. This is all about the industrialization of the printing press. The 19th century was just a whirlwind of new inventions for printing. Right in the middle of the century, a guy named Richard M. Hoe perfected a power-driven cylindrical press, a total game changer. Then, towards the end of the century, the offset press showed up, which meant you could print in multiple colors. And by the time the 20th century rolled around, electric presses made everything even faster. Now, to put that into perspective, Hoe's cylindrical press could print 8,000 sheets an hour. 8,000! I mean, compared to the old way of doing it by hand, that number is just mind-blowing. It meant books and newspapers could finally be made cheaply and in huge numbers, meeting that massive public demand. All right, let's switch gears and bring our focus to India. Before the printing press made its way here, how was knowledge recorded and shared? Well, this section is all about India's very rich but very different manuscript tradition. So, India had this incredible tradition of handwritten manuscripts in all sorts of languages, from Sanskrit and Arabic to many local ones. And these weren't just simple texts. They were often beautiful works of art, copied onto palm leaves or handmade paper with gorgeous illustrations. But, and this is a big but, they had some major drawbacks. They were super fragile, really expensive to make, and just plain difficult to handle and read. This slide really just lays it all out, clear as day. On one side, manuscripts. Fragile, expensive, hard to use, and only available to a tiny number of people. On the other side, printed books. Durable, affordable, easy to read, and ready for mass distribution. The arrival of print was about to change absolutely everything. And so the revolution arrives. In our final section, we're going to track the journey of the printing press to India and look at the very first publications that kicked off this new era. Okay, pay close attention here, because this sequence is important. The very first printing press landed in Goa with Portuguese missionaries way back in the mid-1500s. By 1579, you have the first Tamil book printed in Cochin. Then, in 1713, the first Malayalam book. What's kind of interesting is that it took a while for an English newspaper to get started, with the first major one only showing up in 1780. And that first newspaper was the Bengal Gazette. You have to remember this name, James Augustus Hickey. He was the editor, and he wasn't afraid of anyone. He made it a point to be independent of the colonial government, and he loved publishing gossip about all the top officials. His paper really kicked off the start of a free and fearless press in India. But wait, here is a classic exam trap, so listen carefully. While Hickey's Bengal Gazette was the first one overall, the first one that was actually produced by an Indian was also called the Bengal Gazette. That one was started by Gangadhar Bhattacharya. Same name, different people. Don't get them mixed up. So what's the big takeaway here? What did the print revolution really do? In the end, it's pretty simple. Knowledge was no longer locked up and kept only for the elite. Print made it cheap, accessible, and available to pretty much everyone. Information was, for the first time, democratized, and that sparked debates, spread new ideas, and completely changed the world. And with that, mission complete. You are now locked and loaded with the core concepts of the print revolution for your exam. If this explainer helped you out, you know the drill. Please like, share, and definitely subscribe to the A1 Institute YouTube channel for more. If you need anything from admissions help to notes, all our contact info is in the description. Now, go continue your prep with the next part of this chapter, and we'll see you in the next one.